Hey everybody, JJ here, Bull to the Bust. It is Wednesday, June 3rd. Thank you for joining me, friends. While the insanity continues in the stock market, we're going to talk about the big surge now in the Dow Jones and the other major indexes. More stimulus checks likely are coming. I'm going to tell you how much and when and what the likelihood of those coming will actually be. What are the odds of that? And finally, negative rates needed for an economic recovery. Who's saying that? And is it true? Negative rates, will that save the economy and bring us into a V-shaped recovery? Let's talk about it. Let's get started right here. The Dow Jones up over 500 points. Is anyone surprised by this? No, you are not. If you've been on this channel, you are not surprised by this. In fact, you have been expecting this, and I know many of you out there have been emailing me and messaging me, and you've been long on the market knowing that this is manipulated. Now, I would say to that, be very careful. Anything can happen. They could pull the rug out from under this economy right now. Remember, what's manipulated can also be reversed, can also be unmanipulated in the blink of an eye. So this could be a trap. And I know there's a lot of people analyzing this in a different way. It could be a trap. It could be pushing it back up only to bring it back down. But look at all the disasters that are happening right now, the riots, the looting, the destruction, the unemployment, the small business closures, the earnings recession, the corporate bankruptcies, millions of people behind on their mortgages and their auto loans and their credit card payments. All of this stuff happening, all of this bad news, but yet the market still keeps going up. So that tells me that this is going to continue to be manipulated up until likely the end of the year, or at least November, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to break this down because a lot of people are asking me about it. Again, I'm out of the markets. Yes, I do hold some stocks right now, but it's mostly just minor stocks, gold miners, and so forth. I'm taking a wait-and-see approach here, mostly in cash, just sitting on the sidelines. And I appreciate you asking me for advice, but again, I've said this in several videos. I'm out of the markets right now. I'm just taking a wait-and-see approach. The manipulation is just jaw-dropping. And yes, maybe I'm missing out on some gains, but again, there's a lot of things happening right now behind the scenes that could reverse this in a hurry. I mean, I'm talking about a system-wide failure. Now, do I have the inside baseball or the inside scoop on something that's coming? No. But look what's happened so far. Would anyone be surprised if there's another major situation that unfolds here in the next month, weeks, a few weeks, who knows? Recent article here, negative rates needed for an economic recovery. Is that true? Well, let's take a look and let's kind of put this into perspective a little bit. CNBC article right here. Negative interest rates could be needed for a V-shaped recovery. Of course, it's a Fed economist saying that. Now remember, this comes on the tail of Fed Chairman Jerome Powell just recently said that he doesn't think negative interest rates are going to be needed for the recovery, or he said it wouldn't be an appropriate tool at this time. Now, they usually always put that phrase in there, at this time. That means even the very next day, they could change it, and kind of a CYA move right there. So when somebody says at this time, doesn't mean anything. It means it can change on a dime. But this Fed economist broke it down like this. Using aggressive stimulus even beyond what authorities deployed during the financial crisis, and that could include taking interest rates below zero. All right, now I want you to think about this. If negative interest rates were the answer, why did we wait this long? Why not take negative interest rates, or why not implement negative interest rates right after the financial crisis, if that is the cure for the failing economy? Well, no. The problem, one of the problems causing the economy to implode right now is the fact that there's so much debt. Of course, now you have the scam demic being used as the scapegoat for all of the economic problems right now. And now you add on top of that all of the unrest that's happening right now. So now none of these insane, faulty policies out of the central bank, out of the Fed, the monopoly men, the market makers, none of these failed policies are going to be to blame. So the low interest rates, the easy money lending, creating bubbles in multiple markets, none of that's going to be the blame right now, because you have the other events that are now going to be the blame. All right, and you know this. Most of you on this channel, you know what's going on. You know this by now. But there's still people out there saying, yes, we need negative interest rates so people could get more loans. Yeah, and the payments will be lower. We need lower payments because people are not making as much money and people are losing their jobs. So we need lower payments. No, what we need is a market, is an economy that's not manipulated. And look what we've done already. We've already discouraged people from saving money. Now I know savings has went up recently because so many stores and things like that are shut down. People have been saving a little more than usual. But it's kind of a balance. We have a combination of a lot of people still blowing their money, blowing their stimulus checks, going out and buying big screen TVs and electronics with their stimulus money, but then other people doing the opposite. They're saving their money even though they're not getting anything in return on their savings. And a lot of people are saving it out of the bank now. More people are becoming distrustful of the banking system. I think that's a good thing. Other people still see the banks as the safest place to put your money because they feel like there's always going to be the endless backing of the banking system. So if the banks actually get into troubles, there's just going to be endless injections via the Fed, and the FDIC will always be there to rescue the depositors. So some people have ultimate trust in the banks, other people the opposite, keeping their money out of the banks. And just like we have a divided country right now for lots of reasons, politically, there's also a lot of different opinions on savings, the financial system, the banking system, and so forth. So I think it is important to try to analyze this, from a balanced perspective here. So you let me know down in comments, please. Do you think that negative interest rates is going to give us a V-shaped recovery, or is the 50 million unemployed now, probably more than 50 million, just in the past 3 months? The businesses shutting down, the looting, the destruction, the earnings recession, the bubbles, the overpriced housing market, is all that going to be impossible to fix? Well, I think you know my take, but let me know what you think down in comments, please. I'd like to hear from you. The answer is no. Interest rates going negative is not going to give us a V-shaped recovery. Of course, they want to float this out there. They don't want to be totally honest or be transparent with everybody. They have to put out the illusion that things are going to get a lot better. Remember, they got to keep the sheeple, the mass dumbed down people, sheeple, hoping and cheering on the bankers to come and save us, right? And it's not just here in the U.S. Here's the ECB, European Central Bank, set to scale up stimulus as new data could indicate a need to do more. It's always going to be more. The same policies that got us into this mess, they're going to keep on doing more, keep on doing more. Endless debt, endless stimulus, endless Fed injections. And the debt is skyrocketing right now. Look at the Fed balance sheet. Look at the national debt. Look at the local government debt, state debt. States are insolvent. Many states can't pay their unemployment claims. They're looking to the federal government for bailouts. The federal government is in debt, right? It's debt on top of debt. And now we need bailouts to fund the bailouts. And we need more bailouts to fund those bailouts. It is completely insane bozo world right now. And can it continue forever? Can it just be infinite debt? Or is there going to be a reckoning day? Well, you know my thoughts. I think there's going to be a reckoning day. I think we all need to prepare for this. Inflation, maybe hyperinflation. We'll have to see what the market makers do. Again, there's no way to predict exactly what's going to happen. Try to prepare for every possible outcome. We cannot predict these people that are running things. We can't predict their intentions. Some people think they know exactly what the intentions are, and it's not a very rosy outlook, for a lot of people, their predictions. I just say prepare for every possible outcome, okay? Let's wrap it up right here. More $1,200 stimulus checks on the way. Maybe $2,000 a month. It's still being looked at. It's still being debated. There's still bills right now that are in action. And here's my take on it. Now, some people think that I'm against these checks. Well, actually, not per se. Here's the way I look at it. Hand out the checks to anyone making under 50,000, say, or maybe base it on different states. If somebody lives in California, maybe under 70,000. In some of the lower income states, maybe let's say Louisiana, anyone making under 50,000 and so forth. Yes, hand those checks out. They create money out of nothing. The people should get it over the banks. I agree with that. My issue is with every $1,200 stimulus check that goes out for the people, there's trillions of dollars to get pumped into the banking system. So what they're doing is they're keeping the bubble inflated by allowing these banks, these failed banks, these zombie banks, to continue lending money that they don't have. So they're keeping inflation ramped up. They're keeping the bubble inflated. And if this keeps on, the $1,200 stimulus checks, the $2,000 stimulus checks that may happen or may not, but if they do happen, they're not going to buy anything because prices are going to continue to rise. They're going to keep on inflating the bubble. Right? Endless bank bailouts equals endless lending equals a never-ending asset bubble. High prices. People cannot afford the cost of living. So then there's going to be more calls for these stimulus checks. But here's the bottom line. If you stop bailing out the banks, if you let it collapse, prices will come down and people will be able to afford basic costs of living, basic goods. Home prices would come down. Car prices would come down. Everything would come crashing down, so you wouldn't need the stimulus checks. The prices would correct. It's called a price correction. What they're doing is they're preventing prices from correcting, and therefore people need to continue to take out loans, continue begging for stimulus checks. So no, I'm not against stimulus checks if they're going to continue to bail out the banks. My argument is stop the bank bailouts, prices will correct, and no one will need stimulus checks. Bottom line, that's the solution. Thanks for watching and support, everybody. Please share this information, not necessarily this video, but share just the information that you know that you have learned on this channel, or maybe you already knew, just you come here for reinforcement of your own beliefs. You know, I think a lot of us are on the same page. From reading down the comments, I think most of you are kind of right there with me on what needs to be done, what could fix this mess. Are the quote-unquote leaders going to do this? The actual fix, is it going to be implemented? Well, I doubt it. And I know a lot of you people out there are hopeful. I'm not trying to bust your hope bubble, but we need to prepare for more failed policies that are going to push this into the stratosphere that no one could have ever imagined, you know. And also what worries me is the more people that get dependent on a government check, as soon as the criminal enterprise, I mean the government, as soon as they stop sending out the checks, then you're going to be even in a more dangerous position than you are now. So the more we continue these failed policies, the more dangerous it's going to get. Remember the example of the drug addict that gets more drugs, he stays high, he gets larger and larger doses. Well, the withdrawal at some point is going to be that much more devastating and deadly. Alright everybody, that's all for this report. Thanks for watching. Please give us a thumbs up if you like what we talk about. Share this information, share what you know, share this solution that you and I know is the correct solution. Share this with everybody. Talk to your friends, your family about the financial system, what needs to be done. Talk to them about the lies, the manipulations, the crookedness that we're seeing throughout the global banking system and how it's being used to basically trap us into debt and have us all debt servants for most of our lives. Okay, that's really all this time, wrapping it up. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye for now.